Okay, now we're back. We're ready to go. Okay. Think we gotta get... There we go. Now you're unmuted.
Nice.
Okay.
What an adventure technology is.
Yes. So, maybe people will join us. Maybe people won't. We'll find out. But...
That's fine. Well, I shared it, so...
There we go. I shared it too. Not much notice, though. So, for those of you who are surprised by this on Facebook, it's because 7 minutes before we were going to go live, we were going to stream to YouTube. When Jared's like, nobody's going to join. Nobody's going to watch. I'm like, fine, I'll switch it to Facebook. And so 6 minutes before we went live, we were streaming to Facebook. So this is a test. Don't know how it's going to go, but this is our opportunity to set up our podcast. Jared, how long have we been talking about doing a podcast?
A while.
Can you define a while?
Like, probably my halfway through seminary for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least 3 years.
Has it really been that long?
Probably.
Okay, I was just remembering the last year, but yeah, I guess we've been talking about it for a while.
Because it morphed in so many things. Because like our first podcast idea was like, let's do something on like critiquing modern worship songs.
Mm-hmm. But then we decide we want people to like us and not just be a podcast about what we hate.
Yeah, true.
Okay. Yeah, and then I guess it did because then I went and did something by myself with the worshiping songwriter. But I was thinking I was doing more like long form essays, long form theological essays.
Yeah.
It actually has turned out pretty well. Those are still the most viewed articles on the worshiping songwriter. Like they keep getting people coming back. I look at the stats and go, "Oh, you're still looking at that? Cool. Maybe I should do more." But then I remember, oh yeah, that's right. I'm a
Our
dad
wives and
now.
our pastors don't count though, Dan.
No. It's always like you wouldn't read this stuff more than once.
Right.
Okay. But it's always like I'll see a big tick up in views on the website and I'm like, "Oh, what was that? Oh, you're reading my article on the first praise song in Genesis?"
Right.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, so I started doing long form essays on a podcast and I got like 3 episodes into that and then I became a dad. And you know what doesn't mix well? Being a dad and writing long form theological essays and recording podcasts of them.
Yes, that's very true.
Yep.
So very true.
Yeah. You know, before we go any further, thinking that some of our Kickstarter backers are going to be watching this on YouTube later, perhaps we should introduce ourselves.
Yeah, we should probably do that.
So, and what we're doing, you can go first.
All right. My name's Jarred Cain. I'm a worship director and youth director in Bucks County, PA at Crossing Community Church. Been there for like 8 years. Going on 8 years now. It's a long time. What else, Dan? Is that good?
Yeah, that's fine.
What we want to do?
Yeah, and I'm Dan Locke. I'm a worship director at Calvary Baptist Church in Bristol, PA. And I also run the worshipingsongwriter.com. And I write songs. Lots and lots of songs. And we are coming to you live on Facebook now. Hi, YouTube. Because we are launching a Kickstarter to record our next album, Christ the Hope of Glory.
Right. That is right.
Yeah. The real goal with this video, though, this live stream process, is so that our Kickstarter backers have a way to get updates. So this is kind of like our test run going into the Kickstarter so we know how we can best inform our Kickstarter backers about what's going on with this album.
Yeah. Also to kind of get to know us too.
Yeah.
Make us more human.
Mm-hmm. And
it also give us an excuse to finally start this thing.
yes.
It'll be more than just the album, the new album coming out, but
yeah. So
it'll develop into like all things worship, doxology, theology kind of stuff, probably. Maybe. I don't know.
yeah. So you made a list for us of topics that we can go over, but before we get there, we need to have our own little gag segments for our podcast. I'm going to make a recommendation because we are both dads with toddlers. We can do toddler tales.
Toddler tales.
Toddler tales.
I like it.
What did your toddler do today or this week that made you go, oh, I should share that with the internet?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can start because I have one. It's really cute. It was actually today. So my wife and I just got a house. We are super excited. And with this house comes a backyard. And in this backyard, there is grass. Now, there was a lot of grass in there. It wasn't cut before we came in. And I had some great friends come and help me. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Brian. Those are two different Brians that helped mow the grass. And because me coming in, I've been renting my entire life. I don't have any of this equipment to mow. That's what homeowners do, which I am now. So they helped me with that. They brought the equipment. We mowed the grass. And now I need a way to maintain the yard and not let it get back to that state. Well, I've identified two needs for myself. Number one, I need to mow the grass. Number two, I need to get in shape. Because although round is a shape, it is not my most desired shape. So I'm going to combine these two things. The yard is small enough that I can do a real mower, not an REAL mower, an REEL mower, and one of those old style ones. My in-laws came over and they looked at it and they said, oh, I remember those. So I got a real mower to go and do the yard so I can get some exercise too while I'm doing it. And as I'm going out there, I'm pushing this real mower through the yard, just trying to make sure it works, getting the hang of it. And I turn back around and I see my daughter, Lily, who is almost 2 years old, has picked up a broom. And she is holding it in front of her as if it was also a real mower. And she is pushing the broom over the grass as I am going with the mowing. And it was the cutest thing in the world.
You're going to write a song about this.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's what you're going to do, aren't you, Dan?
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe. A song will develop from it.
Yes.
I guarantee it.
So there is my toddler tale of the day. My cute daughter mimicking me with the real mower and pushing a broom over our freshly cut grass.
That's a good one. There's so many with Judah. Judah's my toddler, and then we have a 3-month-old, Delaney. Delaney doesn't do much. She's just like this squatter in our house. And whenever we're like, what are you doing here? She just smiles at us, and then we're like, okay, you can stay. Judah last night got the mail with me, and he brought in, we had to bring some stuff in from a van, and he brought in the mail, and it was only just this, like the coupon books or like the savings books that you get from like Aldi or like Giant or Acme. We got one from Costco because we're Costco members, and he would not let go of it. He just it was his, and he went to sleep with it in hand, clutched in hand. Got him up this morning, still in hand, clutched in his hands. And I pick him up, and he's like, "No, Dad, my book, mine." And then I get him out of bed, change his diaper again, still in his hand, right? And then I put him down. He runs to my wife's side in our side of the bed in our room, and he's like, "Go to store, Mom. Go store time. I has book. Go to store."
He's
Just
ready.
one of the many.
He's got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lily refers to that time as go-go time.
Mm.
It's go-go time. And if she says go-go, she runs over to her car seat and tries to sit in it.
Oh, he does a crazy. So like the other day, he's just so observant because we'll say something like, "We need to go to the store. We need to go to pick something up." My wife likes Target because all women love Target. And I don't know if that's just overgeneralization. Sorry, women everywhere.
Probably is.
And I mean, Target's just convenient, so I like Target. But we tell him we're gonna go get dressed and go to the store, and he's like, "Target, Mom?" And he's like, "Oh." Rolled eyes. Okay. And then he goes to his room to get clothes.
Okay.
There you go.
Those are
Toddler
our
tales.
toddler tales. That segment may make another appearance if the public demands it.
True. Public right now is just me and you, though, so
Yeah, that's okay.
that's fine with me.
Yep. Got to get the test in there somewhere. Besides, I'll put this up on YouTube.
Who watches YouTube? I don't know.
Lots of people.
I don't watch YouTube.
Yeah.
But... All right.
Okay. So, Kickstarter, new album.
Mm.
You have podcast talking points.
Yes. Yeah.
You want to walk us through them? Or where are we starting?
I guess we start we kind of began with who we are, but let's move back a little bit. I think you could speak more to this. Like, what's the mission and vision of this? Like, what is it that we want to see through this album, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the purpose behind it. And I think it's like our overall purpose too, with the worshiping songwriter and what we want to see happen within the worship culture of the Western church, right?
Yeah. Well, I think one big place to start is that these, so for this Kickstarter, we're going to be recording a 10-song album, Lord willing, assuming that the campaign hits its goal. And so we want to record a 10-song album, and these are 10 songs. Most of them we've been using in our churches already. There are a few of them that I haven't introduced yet, but probably will after the album releases.
Which ones have you done? Calvary?
Okay, so going through the list, I've done Forever and Always the Same.
Mm-hmm.
I've done Christ Has Conquered Death. That one was actually, I put that one together for Easter when I first started at Calvary.
Right.
It's
an arrangement of
Christ the Lord is risen today. I have not done You Alone Can Save. Haven't taught that one to the band yet. We've done Christ the Hope of Glory, because Christ the Hope of Glory was actually written for our series of Colossians that we were going through.
Right, I remember you telling me about that.
Perfectly timed. Pastor loved it and said, yeah, I would be offended if you didn't introduce that to the church. So I'm like, yes. So that one's kind of like ours. We're actually singing it this Sunday as well to kind of like remind everyone that we're doing it for a concert in the evening.
Nice.
And then Be Thou My Vision, we've been using for years now.
Yeah. Just your arrangement of it again.
Yeah, Be Thou My Vision, All That I Long For. So I'm taking the Chris Tomlin approach and taking perfectly good hymns and putting choruses on them. My Shepherd Will Supply My Need was a hymn of the month we did last year. So we sing that one. Of course, that one is just no edits made to that one. No chorus added. It's beautiful enough. Rock of Ages, we've done that one.
Mm.
Love of the Savior, we have not done Sean's song in our church.
Mm.
The Well That Never Runs Dry, yes, we introduced that one. I think it was last month or the month before. Yeah, April. It was our April song that we introduced. And then I have not introduced Face to Face. So You Alone Can Save, The Love of the Savior, and Face to Face. So 3 out of the 10 songs I haven't done yet.
So 7 songs you've done.
Yeah. How about you?
I think we've done Forever and Always the Same, which the church is loving right now.
Nice.
Right? Setting up Psalm 8 and Psalm 102. Right? Was
Yep.
it 102?
Yeah, it is 102.
And Be Thou My Vision. Working on Christ the Hope of Glory. We've done Rock of Ages. The church knows. We haven't done our arrangement of My Shepherd Will Supply My Need, but the church knows it. Right? So probably about like half the album, I guess, at this point, maybe 5.
Okay. I bet the next one to be introduced is The Well That Never Runs Dry.
That one or Christ the Hope of Glory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I am so excited for Sunday.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be a long day, but it's going to be a good day.
I know. We're really pushing Nate, too. Boy's got a newborn.
Yep. Yeah, so for those who don't understand that reference, our drummer, Nate Garrison, they just had a baby. Like, 2 weeks ago?
No, less than that.
Less than that, okay.
It'll be 1 full week on Saturday, I think. Right?
No, it has to be longer than that.
No, because I graduate. Yeah, I guess it'll be 2 weeks on Saturday.
That's what I thought. Because we dragged him out to rehearsal a week after his baby was born.
2 weeks.
And now 2 weeks after it, we're going to have him do a concert. So
what a trooper. Shout out to Nate Garrison.
Shout out to Nate Garrison. Everyone, shout out to Nate Garrison.
Yeah.
So
I know we want to keep this in a timely manner, but
yeah, that's okay.
But yeah, so like Mission and Vision.
Yeah, so these are songs that we've been using for our churches. These are songs that we've been playing in church. And so now we want to take them and we want to put them on an album for churches to use so that churches can hear these arrangements and hear these songs. And I hope that they encourage our churches and other churches as much as they encourage us. And it's also a little bit of, like, I remember we did one EP. We've already released one EP called The Home That He Has Promised. And just how much ownership the church takes over that. It's kind of like, hey, that's from us. That's from people in our church. We love that. So I want to see that same type of encouragement come with Christ, the Hope of Glory, that these are songs that were written for the church. And so now let's record them for the church.
Yeah, I think too is some of the things we talk about is we're interested in songs that are, theological, theologically accurate, but also lyrically beautiful. And, not trying to bash modern CCM or anything like that. There's some good stuff coming out, I think. Just a lot of times you have maybe one or the other or neither. It's not all the time is it both. And so I think likewise too, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, we're also interested in keeping strong hymnody, because of the lack of use of hymnals today in a lot of churches. I know I want to see a stronger sense of hymnody from the church today and not let go of some of these songs that, are life-giving and life-sustaining and songs that kind of outlast, I don't know, pick any kind of radio song, that was good, but it didn't last. Like
Mhm.
Stronger from Hillsong. I like some of the Hillsong stuff, and Stronger was a good one, but you don't really hear that anymore.
I just wrote an article, blog post for Jesus Freak Hideout on
Mm,
songs for every season.
mm,
So I'll post a link to that in the doobly doo.
doobly doo.
Yeah. But you actually just came up with our second podcast topic. I don't know if you realize that.
I did.
Yes.
I meant to.
Jared, what is a
What?
hymn?
Ooh, what isn't a hymn? I don't think we could get into that today, Dan. I think we're gonna have to leave that for another time.
Notice I said you came up with our next topic.
Yeah. Stay tuned, guys. You guys have to, if you're watching this sometime later, stay tuned.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Come to episode 2 of the Worshipping Songwriter podcast,
Yeah.
where Jared and Dan are going to talk about what a hymn is.
What a hymn is. Yeah. All right. So, and maybe some of the stuff that we don't get to tonight.
Which is going to be most of the list.
Probably. So that's kind of mission and vision. That's what we want to see, both from our work with the Worshipping Songwriter, but also our work together as artists. Loch and Cain and this new album, and then individually. I think I can say that about both of us, that we want to see a strong sense of hymnody, a strong sense of beautiful artistry infused together with and harmonized with strong theology.
Yeah, and beautiful artistry, I think, is one of the very important points there. Because there's also, like, the modern hymn movement can produce some absolutely boring lyrics.
Oh, a snore fest.
Yes, so
Oh,
we don't want to present theology as prepositional truth number 1, prepositional truth number 2. And have our songs read like a theology textbook. It's not enough just to say the truth. Songs need to make you feel the truth.
Yeah. I think you're right. So I think maybe the next stuff we can jump into is just about us. I think we talked about the project a lot. I mean, we can talk about it more, but who we are as individuals, because we want you guys to know who we are,
Mm-hmm.
both as, ministry leaders, but also musicians. So Dan, like, you could start us off, and then I'll
Yeah.
do it.
How about,
But
since
like life background.
Yeah. How about we got 3 minutes left? What if we just did musical influences right now?
Ooh. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, we can save some stuff.
Yeah. Let's save some stuff.
Okay.
Okay. So.
You want to go first?
No, I went first with the other one. You get to go first this time.
I'll go first. All right. Musical influences. This is it's so broad, but I'll narrow it down. I gotta tell you, I'm really influenced, and you think you know who I'm gonna say, Dan, but you don't know. I'm really influenced, like guitar playing, at least. I just can listen to this guy all the time. John Mayer.
Yeah.
I just think he's the greatest. Like, I don't care if this is an overstatement, and maybe he'll see this, and I don't care. He's the greatest guitar player today. Like, I just think he's just so good. Like, he's on a solo tour now, or maybe it just ended, but it's just him and a guitar, or a bunch of guitars. Man, he's just so phenomenal, and I just want to play like that.
He's a
So like,
master of his craft.
oh man, he's just so good. So like, I study that guy, and I listen to him, and I'm like, man, being able to do some of the stuff, and he's really influenced my ability to maybe hear some stuff and pick some stuff out that we play on the album, or my arrangements of other songs that I do at church, and to make it like musically beautiful, like artistically, not lyrically, but like musically. How can this be just really great? So he's probably one of my
Mhm.
top musical influence for guitar. And then you know who I'm gonna say next. Shane and Shane have just
Mm,
really
yep.
influenced me. Both artistically, lyrically, how they write their songs, all their Psalms albums,
You
Psalms,
are a
hymns, and
mini
spiritual songs.
Shane.
I just love it. I love what they do. I love how they put things together. I love they're doing what we want to do. So they make beautiful artistry, beautiful lyrics, and infuse it with the Word of God and deep theology, and I just love it. And of course, I'll probably say, the Gettys
Hmm.
and the Matt Boswell, Matt Merker,
Hmm.
Sovereign Grace, some of those guys, all but my top, like those guys, all of them really influenced me. And the guys from Sovereign Grace are super awesome, like David Zimmer and Bob Coughlin.
I'm
And
looking forward to meeting them more.
I know you get to go. If you guys don't know, Dan's going to be going to the worship intensive and studying under the Bob Coughlin.
Yep.
So
I'm so excited for that. Um,
yeah,
yeah. We'll go a few
so that's
minutes. We'll go a few minutes over now because now I get to answer, right?
yeah, go for it.
Well, to piggyback off of your answer, so I actually learned how to play slap guitar by learning how to play "Stop This Train" by John Mayer.
Oh,
So
yeah.
teenage Dan was sitting there looking at ultimateguitar.com going, how in the world do you do that?
Mm,
Oh, you're reaching with your thumb, aren't you? Yep.
mm,
So he has a big impact on me as a guitarist as well. In terms of songwriting, though, I'm going to have to go with one of my number one influences is John Foreman of Switchfoot.
mm.
So have you listened to his solo records?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
so good. I love that raw, honest, acoustic feel. He brings emotions to life. He makes you feel the truth.
yeah.
So
100%. I'm
John
looking for my
Foreman,
phone.
huge impact on me. All the
He's got
ones
that
that you
song. What's the
mentioned.
song? House of God Forever.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yep. Um,
So good.
so all the Matts that you mentioned, I'll also give a shout out to Matt Merker as a big influence on me, just because I was able to study under him in the Getty's Hymn Writers Collective.
Yeah, you should
And
tell them one of the songs you co-wrote. One of the songs on the
yes,
album, Dan co-wrote with Matt Merker.
yes, that is. We are so excited. The Well That Never Runs Dry was one of the songs I did during the Getty's Hymn Writers Collective. And Matt got a hold of it and he's like, Dan, this is really good. Would you like to co-write it with me? I'm like, yeah. And what's really funny is going back to those the earlier versions of a song. And when I look at them now, I go, that's like unsingable. Why'd you think it was good? So just really excited about that. So we're gonna try to get Matt on here at some point.
That'd be super great.
He is aware of it. I have emailed him about it. I don't know if he remembers it, but
He's a busy man.
yeah,
He's only
he
running
is.
like Getty Music over there.
Yeah, but we'll try to get him on here for you guys to hear more about the well that never runs dry. So John Foreman, Matt Merker, all the other Matts that are associated with the Gettys. Because you didn't mention them, I will. City of Light.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't mention everybody, but
Mm-hmm.
those
Yeah.
guys are so good.
No, City Light. I love what they're doing, where they're really being a bridge between the Hillsong style and the modern hymn style.
Correct me. They're Anglican too.
No, I think it's Presbyterian.
Is it Presbyterian?
Yeah, but don't quote me on that.
I thought it was Anglican.
We'll have to ask the all-knowing Google. So, worth checking out. I might be wrong. You might be wrong. We'll find out next time.
Do we just want to go till 10 to like
It's
10:10?
10:03.
Yeah. Do we want to just
Oh,
maybe
10:10.
knock some? Yeah, 10:10.
Yeah. Oh, hey, look. We have someone in the chat.
Do. It's my wife, I think.
Hi, Grace.
So yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love all those guys, and so those are some musical influences. And those guys, I mean, obviously had influence on the album in terms of like how Dan writes. So Dan, admittedly, Dan is our lyricist. Like he writes everything. I've been doing some writing here and there, but I make all his songs. Like I sing them, so that's why I'm around. Dan just wants me to sing his song.
You sing the ones that are too high for me.
But there's some songs that Dan and I have co-wrote that are on the worshipingsongwriter.com. They're not on the album though.
Yeah. You have to sign up for some of the special events to be able to hear some of those.
Yeah. Dan, all right, let's go to admittedly the next one then. Dan, so those were musical influences, lyricist that had he kind of writes like everything.
Yep. Sorry, you might get some feedback on the. Oh, Grace is asking, can I ask a question? Yes, and that one does not count.
Yeah, sure, Grace. What's the question? Although she's in our bedroom. Like, why doesn't she just ask?
She is driving engagement.
True.
Yeah.
What's the question?
Raymond Garcia is asking, where can we see you performing? And that is actually an excellent question.
Yes, that is Ray Garcia. So if you guys don't know him, hey Ray, I'm glad you tuned in. It's super great to see you. He's a pastor in the Philadelphia area, and he's the founder of the Philadelphia Project. If you guys are wondering who he is, they do phenomenal stuff. Thanks, Ray, for joining us.
Yeah.
Dan, you want to tell them where?
Yeah, to answer your question, we are actually performing this Sunday at Calvary Baptist Church in Bristol, PA. We're going to kickstart the Kickstarter by playing through the entire album, Christ the Hope of Glory. So if you want to hear the songs that we want to record, you can come to Calvary this Sunday. I'll be sure to share that event on the Worshiping Songwriter page and the Loch and Cain page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ray, you can follow us at all those different places, Loch and Cain and the Worshiping Songwriter. And if you go to Eventbrite and then look up Christ the Hope of Glory, all of that's on there too.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get tickets for the show through Eventbrite. So if you just Google Loch and Cain concert Bristol, it should come up. We have a question from Grace Kane. Who are your top 5 artists you listened to on repeat in high school?
Ray, I put it in the chat there. You can see the Eventbrite link. Top 5 artists? Yep, already done. Top 5 artists. Baby Jared. I mean, I grew up all gospel music, right? So like my dad really influenced me. So really eclectic background. Everything from Fred Hammond, Kurt Franklin, all the way to like really white CCM. So like Stephen Curtis Chapman, who, I mean, that guy's still writing bangers today. That guy he writes new songs like that are so good still. One of my favorites is probably Be Still and Know. It's a setting of Psalm 46. But yeah, I mean, really heavily gospel influence. So, like all those guys I was listening to in high school, Kirk, Fred. I still listen to the BBCC Winans, you know, and the typical Chris Tomlin, Stephen Curtis Chapman, those guys.
So for me, I had a CD player in my bedroom, and I only had CDs that my mom had given me. And one of those was Michael Card, Unveiled Hope. So that was on repeat all the time. But when I became an angsty teenager, I had an hour-long bus ride, and I had a Walkman CD player. And so the CDs that would go into there, there was a DC Talk anthology. Yes. So, geez, like all of their greatest hits go into there. Jars of Clay. I remember their Good Monsters CD.
Oh, man, on repeat all the time.
On repeat all the time. As I got older, so DC Talk and Jars of Clay would stay on my repeats. But then as I got older and I got an iPod and I started browsing through all the music on iTunes, and then Jesus Freak Hideout was actually my like go-to place to find out what new angsty alt-rock Christian band there was, which is really cool to actually be writing some blog posts with them and getting ads on them now. So it's just cool to see how that comes full circle. But coming out of there, I was going to listen to Amberlin, Switchfoot,
Wow, yes,
and The Classic Crime.
man.
So those bands were on repeat all the time.
And Berlin, man.
And Berlin, yep.
Talk about throwing back, yes. Yes.
Hello, Ellen. Welcome.
Yeah, and I guess those are probably influences too. I guess we'll just be honest with you guys. We have some stuff here. We won't get to them. We'll wait for maybe next week, or when's the next one? Next week, right, Dan?
Yeah. Let's just do next week.
So next week we'll do story behind a song or two, and then
Well, hold on. We have to talk about what is a hymn.
yeah, we'll talk about what is a hymn, and we'll talk about what we see as the culture of worship ministry in the church, and what we hope to accomplish through the album. But I say, Dan, let's just finish up about us. Let this kind of first one just kind of be like a who the heck these two crazy dudes are.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess then quickly, if we can summarize kind of us, like life and background. Like I grew up South Jersey, you know, and I had very minimal, gonna be honest, like minimal experience with church, right? So like my parents are divorced, and so kind of back and forth, and I would go to church sometimes. I wasn't really familiar stuff. My dad was super involved with church, and he's the one that led me to Christ, and but didn't really have like church in the weekdays when I was home with my mom. But I ended up going through like some stuff in high school, the longer story. Got to Cairn, wanted to go into youth ministry. God kind of opened up the door there. Now I'm in youth ministry, interned at churches. And I mean, college, weirdly enough, Dan went to school for music. I did not go to school for music. I just had a passion, a growing passion of the importance of what the church should be singing. And that's kind of where Dan and I met, was college. Right, Dan? So
That's right.
And totally different theological spectrums.
We've mellowed out a little since then.
Yeah, we've mellowed out a lot. But like, I mean, totally different.
You remember when you came up to my future wife and said to her, I'm concerned for your spiritual health because you're dating Dan?
I don't think I said those words exactly.
Not exactly, but that was the gist.
I don't know that was the gist.
Grace Kane has asked, what is your go-to road trip artist?
Grace, we're trying to keep this within a manageable time.
Nope, we've already blown that.
No, but for the sake of your wife and for the sake of my wife. Who's asking all the questions, too?
It's your wife that's asking all the questions.
Go to road trip artist. Gotta be honest, it'd probably be my top musical influences. Love John Mayer. I love everything he puts out. Just love him. It's so good. And some Shanes. Gotta throw the Shanes on there, you know. And I'm a happy camper. If I have those two guys, I'm good.
Yeah. If I am making a summer road trip playlist.
Oh, wait, can I put one in there before you say that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Ben Rector. And Ben Rector.
Okay.
Those three, Ben Rector.
If I'm making a summer road trip playlist, then what I'm going to put on there. I know that there's going to be, like, I'm basically going to put everything by House of Heroes. I'm going to put Switchfoot on there. And then I'm also going to put Forget and Not Slow Down by Reliant K.
Mm.
That's a real good road trip album.
Mm. Yes. Yes. All right. Back to the thing.
Okay.
Quick life background. Like, so, I mean,
Yeah.
I did all that. I went through college. I've been at Crossing Community Church for like almost 8 years now. And you, Dan, what about you?
Yeah. So I grew up, like, I started the first, like, 12 years was in the suburbs of Northern Virginia. And then at 12, we moved to the other half of Northern Virginia, which is the corner of Scenic Nowhere. Not the middle of Scenic Nowhere, the corner of Scenic Nowhere. Because you got this nice little river, 2 rivers that collide at Harper's Ferry, and you got these mountains that come up too. And so there's like no reason to go to Lovettsville, Virginia, unless you live there or you're passing by to get to Maryland.
It's like Connecticut.
Yeah.
You only like pass through.
So it was quite the change going from being in the suburbs to going out there. And here's the thing, even though we moved 30 minutes away, I was still going to the same church. So I attended the same church for the first like 20 years of my life. And for most of it, I was at least 45 minutes away from the church.
Mm.
It can be done. I don't recommend it. I recommend being closer to your local church, but it can be done.
Yeah.
So after school, I would drive to church for like youth group or things like that, and then go all the way the 45-minute drive back. And the rule was I had to be back by 11. If I wasn't back by 11, I had to call and let my parents know I wouldn't be back by 11. So I grew up in the church. I was always going to church, and my real, like, connecting with my friends was at church. And then going to college, there was, first I should say that me starting music, I was a late bloomer with music. I started playing music when I was turning 15. And it was kind of wrapped up with my testimony where I finally came to understand what grace was. And on the same day that happened, I was also started playing guitar.
Mm.
And it was instantly like, that's what I want to do. That's what I need to do with my life. So I practiced every day and then auditioned for Cairn. And they let me in for some reason years later. I got to be the graduate assistant at Cairn when I was doing my master's degree. And I got to see my file as I was sorting them. And the comment on there was, has potential. So they graciously let me into the music program. Even though I couldn't sing, I couldn't keep time. I grew a lot in college.
You did? I mean, you did. Your singing's grown. And you guys should know, Dan's a really good musician. Like, I've enjoyed doing stuff with him, and so that's not to puff up your head, Dan. I mean,
thanks. I appreciate you, Jared.
I mean, it's interesting too because it's your bachelor's, right? Bachelor's in music.
Yeah, Bachelor of Arts in Music.
And you have an MDiv.
Mm-hmm.
And then my background is I think it's Bachelor's of Science in Youth and Family Ministry, Master's in Counseling, and my Master's of Divinity. So, like, who would have thought we'd be writing and producing and putting an album together, a second album?
Yeah.
Or even just a first album.
The first album was like our test run.
It was.
Yeah, getting it ready.
We learned a lot.
We've proven that we can get an album out there.
We learned a lot.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think that's pretty good. I don't know. Should we ask my wife if
Grace, do you
is
have
there
any
anything
more
else?
engagement driving questions?
Or do you think we missed something?
Or is it time for Jared to go to sleep?
Maybe as a just kind of ending our time, what's one personal hobby, Dan, and one thing you enjoy about being a worship leader?
Okay. One personal hobby. And are we saying outside of music?
Yeah, like let's keep it outside of music because I mean everybody at this point who would watch this or knows us or doesn't even know us or just, knows we're making an album. They know we have to
Mhm.
like music in some
Yeah.
capacity, so.
Okay. So outside of that, recently I've really been enjoying using the blueprint system in Unreal 5. So like
Mm.
trying to make my own video game. But then I have to remind myself, you're making an album. All put your energy towards the album. Yeah. So there was that. And what was the other question?
One thing you like being or you enjoy about being a worship leader.
I love hearing the congregation sing. There's no other feeling like when you hit that final chorus. I take out my in ears and just hearing everyone belting out like how great thou art, or this Sunday we're gonna do because he lives. I'm assuming that one's going to be a big final last chorus.
Mm. Mm.
We're also doing Psalm 8, How Majestic Is Your Name.
Ooh.
Yeah. Pastor Matt is doing a kingdom moment where he is sharing about jam. And so
Do you need the chart for that?
I already have it.
Oh, there you go.
And also, there's the lead sheets on Song Select.
There are. I didn't know it was up there.
Yeah, it's on
Already.
Song Select. Um, so after the kingdom moment and Pastor Matt shares about jam, I'm going to share a little taste of jam with the congregation.
Nice. Ray asked, where does Dan lead? Dan is the worship director at Calvary Bristol, and soon to be pastor. You're going through ordination process,
That is
or will
correct.
be. We'll be going through it. But yeah, so
Here you go, Ray. I have posted a link to Calvary Bristol. That's also where we're having our concert on Sunday.
that is. All right, so this will be the last thing, and then we'll end our time.
Okay.
I guess for me, personal hobbies. Um, I've been really reading a lot. I'm more of a reader now that I'm not in seminary. Um, so like outside of music, maybe reading. I don't know if that's true though yet. Um, maybe some. I enjoy video games. Recently, I've been playing through the new Star Wars Jedi Survivor game.
I hear that one's pretty
So
good if your
pretty
computer can
good.
run it.
Yeah, no, it's good.
My dad has been playing
So
that one too.
nice. So yeah, I'm a super Star Wars nerd. Um, and I guess for what was the other question? What I enjoy
Yeah.
about the job? I think it might be the same, Dan. Like you kind of have that crescendo, right? And that's what it's about. Like at the end of the day, the most important voice is the congregational voice. Yeah.
Amen.
So it's not about me. It's not about my singing. And I enjoy singing. Anybody who knows me knows that. I mean, my wife calls me a songbird. She can generally know if I'm having a good day or a bad day if I haven't sung, you know, and she'll tell me to go somewhere and go sing for a little bit. But the most important voice is the congregational voice, and when that kind of like crescendo happens and you kind of, go through your kind of liturgy and you go through that kind of service and you're walking through these songs and then the congregation just lifts their voice up together and with one voice, one immaculate, beautiful voice. It probably brings me to tears every time. you know, I mean, because that's the sound of heaven, right? Where one day we will all be singing, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty."
Yeah, heads up, Christians, if you keep going on this path, one day you will be singing in a heavenly choir.
You will be. So, I think I'd have to agree with you. That's probably my favorite favorite part of it. There are the technical pieces I like about the songs and selections and how I go through that, but
The fact that
at
we
the
get
end
to
of the
do
day,
music,
yeah,
love it.
yeah, at the end of the day, when when the congregation lifts up their voice in unison, and we have a room for it. Our church has this beautiful old barn that they've converted into our sanctuary space. I mean, it resonates when everybody's singing. You just like, man, it's just powerful, and it's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, Jared, it is past 10:10 now.
Yeah, so here's the deal, guys. If you're watching this, we are never gonna go this long again. We are resolved.
Are you sure?
I'm I'm sure. I'm sure because your wife is sure and my wife is also sure.
I guess we will let
Usually
the
we're gonna
future be
keep
the judge of this.
yes, I guess so, but our goal is to keep this to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we want to keep it short, and we want to update, give updates on what's going on, and also just hang out and talk.
Yep. So, well, if you guys will say, I guess we should just one last time invite them to the concert on Sunday.
Yep. Okay. So this Sunday, that is going to be May 21st, 2023 at Calvary Baptist Church in Bristol, PA at 6:30 p.m. Jared and I are going to be joined by a bunch of our friends, and we are going to play through the entire Christ the Hope of Glory album as we launch the Kickstarter, and we hope to see you there. There are tickets on Eventbrite.
That's correct. All right, well, if you were watching this live, looks like the live people may have left already, but if you're still here with us, thank you for joining us. And if you are watching this after the fact, I think we can say every Thursday, right? Thursday,
Probably.
9:30. Think so. Every Thursday, 9:30. As of right now, until the album Kickstarter's done, just to give updates and stuff on the album.
Yep.
And then we'll kind of reevaluate, like maybe every other week or
We'll find out. We'll figure it out.
like we'll figure it out. But at least right now, until the Kickstarter's all the way done, giving updates 9:30 this time, Eastern Standard Time. We're here to do it.
Okay.
So
Guys, thank you for joining us, and hope to see you around. Follow us on Kickstarter, Loch and Cain, and The Worshipping Songwriter.
Yes, please do. Thank you.
Okay. Have a good one, guys.